What is this? Okay, it's a Wii, and more specifically, it's a video game console. But why? What makes this a console? What is a console? What isn't a console? These are the questions I'm planning on answering today. This is just a fun thought experiment I had with some friends a few weeks ago, and I thought I'd bring it here.
Let's start off by defining what a game console is. According to Wikipedia, a video game console is an electronic or computer device that outputs a video signal or visual image to display a video game that one or more people can play through some type of controller. So basically, a machine that allows people to play a game using a controller. This will be a useful grounding point to keep in mind as we look at different devices to decide what is and what isn't a console. Right off the bat, this definition makes Xboxes, PlayStations, and most of Nintendo's systems consoles, which would include the Wii.
Oh, thank God.
However, we run into our first issue with the Switch. This is pretty much just a handheld device that allows itself to be played on the TV through the dock. So, what part, if any, of the Switch would be a console? Well, let's look back at the definition. We need the part of the Switch that runs the game, so the main tablet would be it. The dock is nothing more than an accessory that allows us to play these games on our TV. If this is a console, though, then I guess these are also consoles as well. I mean, they do fit into our definition of what a console is, so yeah, they get looped in. You just need to make sure that you stick the word handheld before it so that people don't get their hopes up.
Well, now that I have defined handhelds as consoles, let's do a full 180 and define PCs.
A PC is a console. Specifically, the PC part of it is. The monitor or TV that it's being displayed on, no, those are not consoles. PCs are electronic devices that play video games using a controller, whether it be a keyboard and mouse or a more traditional one. Obviously, you can do a lot more stuff on a PC than you can on a console, but if you use the thing to play so much as Snake, then technically, yeah, this is a console. Now, something that goes hand in hand with a PC pretty well is virtual reality. Where do they fall on this spectrum? Well, if you had asked me before October of last year, I would have said no, because they are pretty much just an extra pair of screens that go very close to your head for your PC. But then this thing decided to come out, and honestly, I don't know anymore. If you don't know what I'm talking about, most virtual reality headsets before the Quest 2 would plug into a different device, like a PC, and the games would run through the PC and be displayed on your headset. So basically, just a fancy type of monitor. But then the Oculus Quest 2 released with the ability to play games right from the device, no PC required.
Well, that sure makes it complicated now, doesn't it?
I would probably have to say that the Quest 2 and any other VR headsets that run on their own with no other device needed is a console, but that any that need the help of a separate device to run would not be. But what about those devices you buy at Five Below that claim to be VR where you just stick your phone into it? Are those consoles? No, those are just trash. Moving on from VR, let's take a look at mobile phones. These things have a lot of the same qualities of a PC, just put into a handheld device. They also are the device that runs the game, so I suppose they do fit into the console category. It gets a little fuzzy when we look at the controller for the device. You can connect a Bluetooth controller to most smartphones, but I've never seen anyone do this. The controller for the game is usually on the screen of the device, and you use touch controls. So I guess they have controllers, which would make them technically be consoles, but I definitely wouldn't put these things on par with something like a Switch or a PlayStation. People don't buy phones to play games. They play games because they're on their phones. Most of the fun games on phones are just time killers like Temple Run or Angry Birds.
So I guess phones just kind of fall into a gray area. It kind of really just depends on how important you think the controller for the console is and, how high quality the games themselves are. For me, sure, they can come along on the ride. Next up, let's take a look at... Oh no.
Plug-in plays, those things that are only worthless most of the time. If you don't know, these things generally contain between 1 and 5 games and just plug straight into the TV. Everything, including the controller, is housed in this box. Are these consoles? Well, let's go through the requirements. these are in fact machines that allow people to play games with controllers. However, you are not able to get new games for them. You're generally stuck with the ones on the device itself. Now, there are a select few that came with cartridges that you could swap out to play a different game, but these were few and far between. Does the fact that these things can only play the games programmed into them mean they aren't consoles? Again, these are a bit of a gray area and kind of need to be determined by whoever is defining it, but if I were to give an answer, sure, they can be considered consoles, though I don't think any kid would want one of these over the new Xbox.
And those are just a few of the things that can possibly be defined as a video game console. Now, I should clarify that the question, what is a video game console, kind of depends on who's asking the question, what they're asking about, a lot of other things. So please tell me why handhelds are not actually consoles and are significantly better than them in the comments below. I definitely want to read that. But this all leaves us with one more question. What about a Samsung smart fridge? I mean, you can play games on it, so... No.